a Yonko Commander, a prestigious title in One Piece with some absolute heavy hitters. A pirate who has climbed the highest ranks of subordination, the right hands, the wings of an emperor, but who really ranks at the top of an all-time list. So join me as we discover and rank the strongest Yonko Commanders. Starting off our list, in the legendary last place, we have Charlotte Snack. Now, we don't know much about the dude. He's got an absolutely ridiculous cut and probably one of the ugliest jackets I've ever seen in my life. He's also the only commander to actually be demoted. Bro got fired by his own mother. Now that is tough. Anyway, he got cut from the Sweet Commander starting roster because he got boxed up and brutally exposed on the feet by Rogue. I'm a believer in Rogue, so I'm gonna cut him some slack on this one, but it still puts him at the bottom of the list. Next up on this list, we have the diabetes Luffy victim, Charlotte Cracker. This guy has been victimized quite a bit. We've seen him get one shot by Kuzan, but realistically, most of these commanders are getting packed up by the admirals. Anyway, here's the thing about Cracker. He did honestly put up a solid performance versus Luffy and Nami. You could argue that without the help of Nami, and I would, that Cracker would have won that very day. But for bounty purposes, I've got to put him below his sister. Next up on the list, we have Charlotte Smoothie, who has a nearly 100 billion more berry bounty than her brother. And you know, just wanted to give her a hand for being the only woman commander. Honestly, kind of shocking. But you know, on the Clinch channel, we have to give credit where credit is due. Fair play. The Shiba no Mi, the power of the squeeze, is an excellent foderizer like Cracker, but it also has the ability to let out what is basically a hydro cannon. I mean, trust me, dude, this lady was cleaning up shop on Pirate Warriors 4. Also, somehow this fruit gives her the power to become big. Honestly, I just think Oda just wanted to draw a big, pretty giant woman, so fair enough, but we still gotta factor it into the power scaling discussion. Though simply because she is one of the only commanders without any actual feats, aside from having a little clash with Reiju. Still gotta put her at the bottom of the list. Also, this is a tangent, but I found this really cool fact on the wiki. Did you know that Smoothie's name is actually a reference to the drink smoothie? Oda, you clever dog. How do you think about this? Finally, we've reached the billion berry men. We've reached Jack. You know what they say about Jack? You know why they call him Jack, right? A jack of no trades and a master of none. This guy was introduced with a big baller berry bounty of 1 billion. The first confirmed character with this large of a bounty. This dude had the same number as Shanks did in the opening chapter. Inflation is crazy, I'm not gonna lie, it's getting out of hand. Anyway, Jack lost to Suru and Sengoku. Fair enough. Lost to a geriatric elephant, interesting, and even lost to Post, Kaido, and Urashi. Buddy, I know Jack gets a lot of slander. That's the sentence. He gets a lot of slander, and it is absolutely based. Screw that woolly mammoth breaking the Geneva Conventions on the mix. Glad he got sliced and diced by a furry. That's payback. After Jack, we have the bulbous bum Queen. Now, honestly, I think Queen gets downplayed a lot for being a person of calories, as well as getting done in by Sanji. Like, after he unlocked Ilfred and Exoskeleton, this fight was not close. So I do think at this point in the story, Queen is actually underrated. Like, this dude took a grappling slam from Big Mom and was even able to concuss her. I don't know how else to interpret her getting her memory back after clashing with Queen. Don't believe this guy is like anything crazy, but people downplay this dude just because Sanji whooped him. Like, Sanji is a real striker, dude. I'm not about to forget that Queen just because he's a calorically dense individual. Next up, we got two of Blackbeard's closest mates. We have Shiryu of the Rain, one of the coldest nicknames for really just no reason, and Jesus Burgess the Champion. I mean, Buddy is wearing the belt, to be fair. I guess you gotta call him the champ. Anyway, these guys haven't really done anything to impress me. Like, sure, Shiryu stabbed Garp, but like, Garp allowed that and then immediately grabbed Buddy by his weirdly shaped chin and power bombed him into the streets of Hachinosu. And Burgess is just really strong. We know that Burgess got one shot by Sabo, but in all fairness, that was a while ago. Burgess was fruitless and Sabo is just an elite scrapper with his hands. Dude, if this dude is not losing to Doflamingo, that might be the craziest take I've ever seen in my days. Like, yeah, you can say that these two guys are going to be endgame opponents, but I think you and I can both agree that they just aren't at the current moment. Though I do have them above Queen and Jack simply because of narrative. You can argue either way, but Queen and Jack are things of the past, and that's just how One Piece works. So for reasons of narrative and busted devil fruits, I have them above the other Yonko commanders. Next up, we got the first son of the sea and the diversity hire of the Straw Hat crew, Jinbe. No, I'm not a believer in all the Jinbe hype that the Marines give this guy. I mean, a bounty higher than Sanji. This guy's a bigger crew hopper and dirty double crosser than X-Drake and Apu. There really is no reason for Law and Kid to be shivering me timbers like that, bro. It was just a middle tier warlord. It wasn't even Boa Hancock. No, but as much as I dog on Jinbe, he is a solid scrapper. He utterly broke and emasculated Gecko Moria with a nasty brick fist to the liver. He more or less low-diff Sasaki, was probably the strongest of the headliners. So did Nico Robin of Black Maria, so you don't have to put that much stock into it. I mainly have this guy above the other commanders because he is actually a karate goat. Like, this guy probably has the best palm strikes in the verse and has solid observation and arm and hockey to boot. It's just that this guy doesn't have the wins or the narrative aside from my gag to back this up. Like, there's no way you really watched Jinbe getting a higher bounty than Sanji and thought, he's actually stronger than Sanji, bro. I mean, there's a reason this guy is tied up like a bum telling Robin, no, don't move, Sanji's gonna come save us. So for that reason, I'm keeping him a little bit lower on the list. Who's ready for a hot take, baby? Next up on the list, I have Charlotte Katakuri, the original first commander, one of the most intimidating and swagged up dudes in the series. He has elite observation hockey, one of the only commanders with an advanced form of hockey, and even conquerors to boot. And, oh yeah, and a nonsense devil fruit that I'm not even sure Oda or the audience are even fully capable of understanding. Now here's the problem with Katakuri, many of y'all's goats. He is just a fragile Frankie. This guy has a glass chin. It took Luffy less than 15 significant strikes to leave this dude belly up, mouth agape. Big fan of Katakuri. I'd ask for his autograph, but I just don't think he's him anymore. Go and try and get your little sis, bud. You're not gonna let Vasco Shot have, bro. Me personally. Then we get to arguably the single hardest character to scale in all of One Piece, and it was probably my hottest take in this video. Portgas D Ace. Now Ace certainly has some incredible feats, defusing Aokiji's pheasant beat, clashing with Yamato, and beating Jinbe before Ace had even hit his prime. The only thing that is hard to overlook was the fact that this guy just doesn't have the elite hockey in the main manga. And then, buddy, we get to the Boichi adaptation, which might be the single biggest shift in any character's ceiling in One Piece. Not only did this dude leave Jinbe utterly befuddled, mouth agape, he couldn't even comprehend a true Yonko Commander tier character when he saw one. Not only did this dude show observation hockey when he dodged a left cross, but that was advanced observation hockey, future sight. So that right there blows this dude's scaling up significantly. Then right after that, he was able to knock out Whitebeard's Muraka Mogiri out of his hand. Then we get one of the single best Logi attacks in all of One Piece, Demon Fire. I mean, just look at this thing, dude. It's huge. He even forced Whitebeard to use his Gura Gura no Mi to dispel it. There's no way anyone with a straight face can say that people below this dude are displaying a feat on this level. So yes, clown me all you want in the comments. Bro, this guy lost to Akainu and Blackbeard, bro. You mean one of the strongest admirals of all time, which he sacrificed himself to, by the way. And Blackbeard, who might be a little bummy, but at the end of the day, is still a hardest of hard counters to Ace. After Big Mom's head honcho, we have Mr. Kaido's top guy, King the Wildfire. King is just an insane character, man. Crazy durability, elite speed, and attack power because of that speed. I mean, him blowing up that part of Onigashima like that is one of, if not the best feat we've come across on this list. Along with that, pushing a post-rooftop buff, full health Zoro like that is genuinely insane. Like, that Zoro is a complete world beater, without a doubt in my mind, above Whole Cake Island Luffy. And King was still up there giving this guy a solid scrap. Problem is, we just gotta get Buddy some fight IQ training sessions. He would be legendary. Now, to be honest, I have no evidence for this, but just based on power cliffing, I have Crocodile above King. Does he absolutely have zero current feats aside from his generational run at Marineford? No, not really, but just based on his astronomically large bounty for a commander and the fact that he is a final saga level character, I think Oda's just gonna write him to be stronger. It's that simple. Just think about it, dude. We saw Rob Lucci go from Enies Lobby Luffy level to arguably a Yonko Commander 1. If you don't at least think that the villain that made One Piece what it is today is going to be an endgame boss, then you're thinking silly. Though I don't have him any higher, simply because we only have knowledge of his base hockey, so until we see this dude start doing internal damage with an awakened fruit, I can't put him any higher. Following the second commander of the Buggy Pirates, we have the first commander of the Whitebeard Pirates, Marco the Phoenix. This guy is just an impressive all-around type of guy, blocking shots from admirals, clashing with Big Mom, and stalling both king and queen, which I do think is slightly overrated by the way, but it is still a great feat. Though a recent reveal for this guy's devil fruit, which just looks so inedible by the way, there's no way I'm breaking out the syrup, you know, breaking out the butter, breaking out the whipped cream for this fruit, that's all I'm gonna say. But it does really change my perspective, finding out that even if Marco does actually quote-unquote heal from hockey attacks, he still sustains damage, which more or less makes his fruit just the ranged attack and bum fodderizer. Obviously, he's still an incredible stallman, the goat of playing till the bell rings, but he just doesn't have the attack output or hockey that I need to put him higher on the list. And for a hot take that really shouldn't be a hot take, I have the left wing of the Pirate King, Vinsmoke Sanji. You know, a lot of people put Marco above Sanji because, bro, he's our first commander, Sanji's only a second. This is Elbaf Sanji we're talking about. We're almost in 2026. This isn't 2020 anymore, buddy. He's gotten 2 island buffs since then and was already strong enough to steamroll Queen with Ilfrit Jinbe. After that, he scored a field goal with Kizaru's laser, making Buddy rethink the theory of general relativity, then gave Gandhi a little genioplasty. I think that when we cut back to Elbaf and see Zoro and Sanji cooking the holy bums, they're gonna start understanding this ranking a little better. But just trust me on this one for now. Above Sanji, no surprise, we have Roronoa Zoro, the Pirate Hunter. You can't have the number 3 without the number 2. To me, there really is no argument for Sanji being above Zoro. Do I think it's close? Yes. Obviously, these guys are always going to be relative unless Sanji really lets himself go in the final saga, which is possible, but I don't think it's likely. Anyway, Zoro is truly one of the most impressive traditional commanders in the modern timeline we have seen thus far. Being able to easily dispose of Lucci, who I think is underrated just because he lost to Zoro. Losing to the number 2 is just not a bad look, especially when it is Roronoa. People gotta start realizing that. I don't think I really have to justify this guy's rank and being this high, like I'm sure you all agree that he's at the tippity top. We just are not yet far enough in the story for him to be above the special commanders. After the Straw Hat Commanders, I have the Revolutionary Commander Sabo. Now, is Sabo a true Yonko Commander? No, but I did want to include him on my list. This is the first time I'm going to go against my polls on this one, but that's for a good reason. Sure, you know I'm quite the fan of the Flame Emperor. I'm a believer in the anti-Akainu agenda, and I think there's one important thing that people overlook. He is the Luffy of the Revolutionary Army and Luffy's older brother. I do think the older brother part is just so significant. Like, I don't think that Sabo's going to show up again and be like Jinbe level. That'd just be weird to me. If you think this guy is going to be eclipsed by Whole Cake Luffy, I really don't know what to tell you, dude. This guy was already stronger than Luffy in Dressrosa and easily dominated a Yonko Commander 1. Oh, that Yonko Commander 1 title is doing a lot of work, but technically it's true. Now, am I saying that this dude has better feats than Zoro? No, he doesn't. This is, once again, speculation, but if you're scaling One Piece purely off feats, you aren't scaling correctly. This is a story at the end of the day. You can take into account context, clues to understand the characters better, and that's what scaling Sabo mainly is. I don't mind putting Zoro above him. Personally, it's like 52-48 Sabo for me. And I do think end of series Zoro's peak is higher, but I just know Sabo is gonna have to start picking up the slack a little bit, buddy. Look at the rest of the Revolutionary Commanders. How are these guys gonna stop the Holy Knights, bro? Sabo needs to be a boss, just narratively. So yes, the plumber is beating the swordsman. Dude, he is on the it all comes down to who finds the One Piece. You can't say that about any character thus far. If you like these types of crazy but based takes, make sure you sub and like so you can see more of these every Friday. The most consistent One Piece channel on YouTube. That's what I'm hearing. That's what they're saying. Just missing out on the top 5, I have Ben Beckman, Big Man Beck. Now, just based on the fact alone that this guy is an endgame character, you know he's gonna be high up. But Beckman is special when you compare him to your other commanders. This guy is actually a first mate, being called the moon to Shanks' son. Buddy, could you imagine if Katakuri was called that? Whew. No, you can't. Now, I do think Beckman gets a little too much hype for that Ben Beckman moment. Like Kizaru did what he was going to do anyway, but just the level of statements and hype this guy has separates him from the other commanders, at least for me. Starting up the highest echelon of this list, I have Kozuki Oden. Now, does this guy get some seriously deserved slander? Without a doubt in my mind, he does. I mean, low-key, if this dude just teamed up with Moria, he would have easily defeated Kaido. Though I do have him above Beckman because he did put on a heck of a performance against Kaido. He was slipping and slicing up Kaido clearly before he got jumped and snaked. Though that is an important distinction, he is at the bottom of this tier simply because we don't know if this guy truly mastered all forms of hockey. We know he was a sick Ryo user, but no future sight, no ACOG. I just can't put you up there with the other bosses right now. Sorry, buddy. If you do a little more butt-naked bust-downs in the streets of Wano, maybe I'll change my mind. Now, these next three guys are all extremely close, and you know, depending on whoever shows up the best on any given day, could swing in their favor. But starting off this list, I have Kuzan. Now, we still don't know the full extent of Kuzan's powers, and if he has even reached them. That's the main reason I'm apprehensive to putting Kuzan any higher. Obviously, this dude is fast, he can freeze his opponents, but is he that fast? Like, yes, he's not very muscular, a little scrawny, a little twerpish, a little twiggish. But like, this guy got blitzed by Garp when Garp went to take out Pizuru with a Galaxy Divide, and I do think that it is a little overestimated how bad of a shape this guy was in. Like, he was nowhere near the shell of himself people make it out to be. We saw that a named attack from Kuzan and Ice Glove was able to go even with an unnamed attack from Garp, which is really impressive. But this dude just got kebabbed after saving his people and was damn near 80 years old. Like, this dude was a pensioner, still trying to help out the next gen of the good Marines. Also, I know this dude isn't technically a true commander because he's got his own motives, but so does all the other Blackbeard Pirates, and it just makes the video better to include him, so I am. Then at the top of this list, I'm just going to consolidate the two because they are incredibly close. Schiopra, Gaban, and Silver's Rayleigh. Obviously, Rayleigh is slightly above him, but I do think they are closer than Zoro and Sanji are. As far as we know, Rayleigh did not have the same dream or drive as Zoro, and while I don't want to say complacent, he just doesn't have the end goals that Zoro did. Anyway, I have these guys above Kuzan because they are literal legends. Like, thinking about the fact that the majority of these Straw Hats knew Rayleigh but didn't know the Yonkos or the majority of the Navy, that is insane hype. In chapter 1139 of One Piece, Scopper directly compared to his captain, which you may not say that about any other commanders, let alone second commanders. At the end of the day, these are Pirate King commanders, not Yonko commanders. Then when we start to look at them combined, they are confirmed to have all three forms of advanced hockey, which tells me both of them have all three forms. We know Scopper has elite ACOG and future sight, while Rayleigh showed competent Rio back in Shibodi. Then just looking at their performance in senile age, Scopper brutally touched up Summers, no diff and a holy bum. Then was even out there scrapping with Luffy, who was able to scrap with Kaido 2 arcs before in his base form. And then we get to Rayleigh, who with creaky shoulders, dusty and rusty knees, a high heart rate, and sweating through his white shirt, was still able to cut and stall Kizaru. Imagine what an active or even a prime Rayleigh would have done. That's all I gotta say. I have the Pirate King commanders at the top of the list. Oh wait, no, what's that? Oh no! Just kidding, obviously. I have to put Mihawk as number 1. I mean, we know that Zoro has to surpass both of them. Defeating Mihawk will be proof that Zoro is the world's strongest swordsman. He is one of the last characters in the series that we will actually get shown true feats for. Like, we are seeing Bluetooth Emu feats, all out Zebek feats before we even seen Mihawk take something serious. It just goes to show you the level that Mihawk is truly on. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, and anybody else, let me know why you think I'm stupid for putting Sabo over Zoro or Gaban over Kuzan, but just make sure you sub and like while you're down there. Oh, and one more thing before we leave. Total clinch, vindication, W Oda, W Garp, W chapter. Perfection.